Hey everybody, it is Lauren and Russ from here on the Infectious Groove Music channel. And today we're going back to the 70s, but not for the two reasons we usually go to the 70s with Lauren. Usually, if we're going on a trip to the 70s with Lauren, we're usually going on a trip to stop by Stevie Nicks' house for a little bit, or we'll put on our deck shoes and listen to a whole lot of yacht rock. But those artists aren't going to come up today. We're going to go with something even lighter than she usually talks about.
You know, there is a place for this music.
Of course.
And I love it so much. One of the songs that's on my list for these 70s bubblegum pop songs, it showed up on shuffle for me when I was in the car, and I was like, oh, I just found myself singing along, and I was like, yep, okay, here we go.
You know, it's funny that you say that, and this is going to be a slight tirade. This is one of the reasons why our podcast exists and why this channel exists, because so many people want to be like, oh, that's a guilty pleasure, oh, that's cringe or whatever. Like, nope. No, like, nope, nothing cringe, nothing guilty about any of this stuff. Like, these are just good songs. So what triggered that for me is when you said there's a time and a place for this. There's a time and place for everything, in my opinion. You know, and I would like there to be more times and more places for this type of, upbeat, fun music.
Yes. Well, so
take
this
us through 5 ones. Yeah,
I will. This is the time and the place. And
this is the time. We're going to make it the time and the place.
Yeah. So I'm starting off with the song Heartbeat. It's a love beat by the DeFranco Family. And this is the one that showed up. And first of all, the intro to this song is so intense. And then a small child begins singing, and then the chorus just slaps. And I was like, okay, here we go.
I think I told you this. And again, I just got done being like, there's no such thing as good. But we know that record labels will always be like, hey, you sort of look like someone else, And I just love that with the DeFranco family. They're like, hey, would you like to be our Osmonds?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Like, because the Osmonds, in my opinion, were very much like, hey, what if we had a Jackson 5s that was the other color, and then with the Osmonds, and then the other record labels were like, well, let's get us an Osmonds.
It's also derivative and wonderful.
Yeah, but that's the point, is it's also wonderful. Like, it just because it's quote unquote derivative doesn't mean that it can't be wonderful. See also the Monkees. You know what I mean?
My God, yeah. See, they're not on this list because that's the 60s.
Yeah, that's the 60s.
But the next one I have is a song called Dizzy by Tommy Rowe. And holy moly, this song, it's just fun. I can't even remember the first time I heard this song, and I don't hear it often, but when I do hear it, click,
this
I know the whole thing
is one of those
immediately.
Ones, which you mention a lot in your videos, I think, are songs that people will go like, oh, I don't know that by name. And then when they hear it, they'll go, oh, yeah. So if you look at, like, we always encourage you go look up these songs that we talk about in these videos. I'm pretty sure the second this song starts, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I totally know that.
Totally.
Now, it don't get more bubblegum and more pop than this next group. And I mean that with all of the affinity I can say.
Oh, for sure. So we couldn't have a list of bubblegum pop from the 70s without talking about the Partridge Family. And I decided to go with the song I Woke Up and Loved This Morning because, like, everybody knows I Think I Love You.
Right.
But this song, it's intense. I feel like this song is David Cassidy trying to be taken a little more seriously than what the Partridge Family ought to have been taken at the time.
Yeah.
But this song is so catchy, and it's like right where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And with a side of I Think I Love You, because you can't really talk about 70s bubblegum pop without even mentioning that. But yeah, I think that maybe at the time, there was probably people that were like, it's a little much, it's a little too intense, but when you look back on it now, it's like, oh, that's still a great song.
Yeah.
And especially, when you lose people too, like since we've lost David Cassidy since, I think a lot of people appreciate more what he was going for, the whole time.
For sure.
Now, here's another one that you picked, a different one than I thought that you were going to pick. But great song. And again, this, I feel like if you look up 70s bubblegum pop in the dictionary, like there's going to be a picture of this group.
Absolutely. So Tony Orlando and Dawn, and I went with What Are You Doing Sunday, mostly because lyrically this song just makes me laugh so much. And it's very much like I Woke Up in Love This Morning. It's like I woke up and all of a sudden, oh no, I'm in love now, right? And this one is very much if it's sunny on Sunday, why don't we get married about it?
Right.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
Maybe. Can you let me know? And it's just like...
And it's funny because, when you think about this bubblegum pop, I love that, for me at least, this is the genre where the lyrics match the music, right? Like, you wouldn't hear something as intense as like Bernie Taupin or Roger Waters like writing in this way and then putting it to like, you know, the soundscape of like Pink Floyd's Animals. You know what I mean? Like this music sounds like the lyrics sound like this music should sound.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that thing, like somebody was just like, oh, I woke up. You want to get married on Sunday? And they were like, well, we can't put any sort of serious music to that.
Right.
You know
No,
what I mean?
exactly. And I think the reason why this music has its place and the reason why it was kind of like bubblegum pop, because it's making simple things like way more intense than they are.
Yeah.
And like, that's how teenagers feel. And that's why teenagers related to this so hard.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I think that might even be too why a lot of people are always like, oh, I grew out of that or whatever. Because, you know, they don't feel it. But like, you should stay in that.
Yeah.
You know, the next one, I mentioned this group earlier, the Jackson 5. When people mention this group, they always think of songs like The Love You Save, ABC, I Want You Back, all great songs. But you went and picked one that I think, I don't want to say this is forgotten, but I don't think it comes up as often as it should.
I think this is my favorite Jackson 5 song.
It's so good.
It's Never Can Say Goodbye. Oh, man, because, again, talk about a little kid sounding so intense. And I think that's kind of if I had a thesis for my 70s bubblegum pop, it's like young people feeling things very strongly and like emoting vocally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes this genre so special.
Yeah. Well, I'm not known for talking about Michael Jackson on this channel, but I'm going to try and talk about him for a second. And I think I pointed out to you personally something that a lot of people don't think of when they think of Michael Jackson. People always go, oh, yeah, he was, you know, singing since he was 4 or whatever. And that's true. But what Michael Jackson did, he had access to people that none of the rest of us would. Like the kid would sit around and watch people like Jackie Wilson and Stevie Wonder work, right? So when you're seeing Stevie cut the vocals for stuff like My Sharia Moore or whatever, you're going to learn more.
Yep.
And that's why when you listen to Never Can Say Goodbye, that's not a kid reading the lyrics off the page. That's a kid getting the lyrics.
Yeah,
and, you know what I mean? And singing.
Absolutely.
And I like it because it's a little older Michael. It's not the little Michael. And you can hear in the vocal of this song, you can hear the guy who's going to become good enough to sing Man in the Mirror or Heal the World the right way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
You know, like, I mean, I know he would write those later, but I don't think he would have delivered the vocal performance that he did without going through those growing pains vocally that you get to hear on something like this. What do you think about 70s bubblegum pop? Hopefully, if you started out this video and you were like, hopefully by the end of this, you're like, yeah, I should be more delightful and I should listen to more delightful music. Let us know some of your favorites. Like I said, there were some of these where I would have picked different ones from these artists. But I love that Lauren brought different picks than I would have had, and we love both to hear from you. So if you would, please share this video out on your socials, drop a like on it because that helps. But more than anything, the comments help us a lot because we want to hear from you and what you think of our picks and what your picks are for some great 70s bubblegum pop. We'll probably go dip into the 60s some if I were to know her well enough. But as we always say, thank you so much for watching.